Good morning, YouTube. Hopefully, we are doing very, very well. We're back with another off-season vlog. Off-season week 30, which feels pretty crazy to say. We'll go over a little update. I feel like I'm not done an off-season vlog at home in a while, so I thought I'd pick up the camera today and take you through today's leg session, which is going to be very, very nice. I've actually changed up my routine a little bit, actually. Training off of one meal now, which I actually have been really enjoying. I'm going to continue with it for maybe a week or so and decide if I want to continue with that. Honestly, it just works better for my days. I actually prefer training off of one meal in the off season with a little bit less food in a sense. I just feel like a little bit more sort of energetic in a sense, shall we say. My sessions just are a little bit better, more enjoyable, so I'm sticking with that. And when it comes to work as well, like when I train off two meals, it's like pretty much like, you know, halfway through the day in a sense. And I just enjoy training a little bit earlier, so I've been enjoying that. Continue with that, and of course the gym is a little bit quieter as well, which is always a nice positive there. Yeah, time is 5:45, 5:45 in the morning. We've got up, we've showered, and we're out for the morning work. Usually, the first 30 minutes of my days are always like kind of to myself in a sense. Of course, I'm talking to you. But yeah, I just don't really look at my phone, go on my phone, etc. Take some time in these walks to just enjoy the morning for what's ahead, get ready for what's the day ahead. And I usually do about a good 90 minutes of work when I get in. And then we'll head off to the gym, which is all good there. And again, I've been kind of enjoying that there. I feel like when you kind of have, especially when you work from home and you work for yourself, etc., when you have like kind of time constraints on stuff, which I do like to do, even, you know, on rest days, it does make you a little bit more kind of productive and get shit done a little bit quicker as well. And so that's a little tip for you as well. But yeah, I was actually discussing in a check-in last night that I wanted to go over. There's a little topic here was, you know, if shit's happening in your life, a lot of shit's happening, you know, it can feel like, you know, the world is literally coming down on you, but realise that, you know, everything is temporary and it will not last forever, and realise just time is your best friend in those situations there. And just a gentle reminder for those who may be going through tougher times, or a gentle reminder for when you do go through tougher times, it's good to remind yourself of that, because again, especially when emotions can be very hard to think logically, which again I think is a skill that I see with the clients who succeed a lot, is the ones who are able to kind of take the emotion out of situations and, you know, communicate well, etc. there. But yeah, that's all for this one. I shall talk to you when we get in and get started with the day. So let's get it. We are back in the house, just cracking on with some work here. But before we get into a little off-season update, little announcement as well. Not actually made it on the YouTube yet, which I literally just realised. So officially sponsored by Reject Weakness, part of the team, which I'm very excited about and very grateful for as well. So what I want to do is just wanted to talk about the brand itself. If you're not kind of aware of it already, make sure to follow the Instagram if you're not already. As you can see, the designs are absolutely wicked. The quality is top notch as well, and you shall see me wearing this all the time as well. Now, the brand itself. Now, this is why I'm really excited to be working with a brand that represents this. So reject weakness, embrace strength is the sort of meaning behind the brand. So it's all about, you know, choosing discipline over excuses, which again is everything that I preach to my clients and my content, choosing growth over comfort and choosing action over hesitation. And it's all about overcoming the mental barriers that come with training, with life, and realizing that weakness is rarely a physical limitation. It's more about the mind. And the brand was created to emphasize, to push people to their potential, embrace the challenges that come with, and push beyond the self-imposed limits. So to highlight, it's more than just a brand in itself, it's what the brand care represents behind the clothes. Commitment, resilience, and personal accountability. So that's why I'm a massive fan of the clothes. And of course, the clothes are fucking wicked as well. And of course, you can use code BRANDON10 at checkout as well to save yourself some money and support me as well. I also did hear that Andrew Jacked does use code BRANDON10. So if Andrew Jacked is using code BRANDON10, then you know what I'm saying. But yeah, wanted to make that announcement as I am very excited for what's ahead. And again, a great team of athletes on board already. We've got the likes of, you know, Scottish UFC fighter Chris Duncan, which is pretty wicked to be a part of a team with him, and a good few IFBB pros as well, which is, again, it's good to be in those environments and in those circles as well. But off-season update, let me just get my sheets up here. So as discussed, into off-season week 30 now, which is very exciting. I was chatting to Josh in last week's check-in there in regards to, you know, the future plans, kind of where we're at right now. So I'll put up some post-workout shots from yesterday's upper session. We're sitting around the kind of mid to late 74 kilos range, which puts us around kind of 12.5 kg up from prep low, which is around 62 kilos. Okay, and again, very happy with the body composition at this weight, as you can see, and definitely a little bit leaner from when I was last at this body weight too, which again is a clear indicator of progress being made. And again, that's a sort of foolproof way to see how much progress you've actually made, is when you revisit body weights, comparing the shots to when you were last at this body weight, seeing the difference in the physique, seeing if you're leaner, etc. That is a clear sign that you've added new muscle tissue there. However, something you also need to take into consideration is, especially if you've got in stage condition or very lean, when you put on that body weight again, the body fat distribution can actually be a little bit different. Okay, now still taking it into consideration, I still do feel like I am a little bit leaner as well. So yeah, everything's going really well. Had a little food increase this week as well, with just plus 15 grams of carbs, which again also shows that when you're adding in food, you really do not need to add in a lot of food. And again, this has literally been like maybe the third or fourth change since coming out of prep. Like we've not had to make any changes for a good, like I want to say like 15 weeks, honestly. The body weight has just been trending up. Again, training's been absolutely fine. And if that is happening, we're feeling good. There's no need to add in any more food. And there's no need to rush that process, because when you do that, you just put yourself in an unnecessarily a higher surplus, and what's going to come with that is unnecessary body fat gain. Now, when we're in a surplus, when the priority is gaining muscle, that is of course going to come with a little bit of fat gain. However, realistically, want to minimize that as much as possible whilst maximizing muscle gain. Okay, that is kind of priority, and that's why I'm a big fan with clients on maintaining a small surplus throughout the off season, to simply just make sure we're facilitating training performance. And if that's happening and we're progressing, then we're growing. It's that simple. So that's where I'm at. Looking to kind of pull back mini cut / diet, around that kind of 12-week time. But again, with any timelines, it's simply a case of taking a day at a time, a week at a time, and of course listen to your body, listen to the signs that your body may benefit from a pullback, or it's getting a little bit sort of less responsive, etc. These are things you can look out for when you're in the off season here. But for myself, again, we'll go over today's session in details. I'll walk you through that, kind of see where numbers are at as well. But again, a lot stronger than I was when I come into prep, which again, very good and very happy with that, and continue to somebody's chase down big goals in the gym and continue to touch goals I've never touched before, with the highest quality that I've trained at, as well as having that balance there. So that's where I'm at, feeling good, and might take you through some meals today if you're lucky. But most importantly, I shall catch you for today's session, which is lower hamstring glutes focused and hinge day. So let's get it. Time for leg session. My mic is unfortunately not working, so hopefully you can hear me all good. I have just ordered the DJI Osmo mics, which I finally bit the bullet on that one. But starting off with arms, as always, I filmed this session quite a few times in the off season. A few amendments I think have been made, little small adjustments. Like, for example, I took out the lying hamstring curl in this session, just because I found there was kind of a lot of soreness into my other leg session, and it was literally affecting like my sets and progressing on all of my hamstring movements. So since taking that out, which was 2 sets of lying hamstring curl, hamstring work has been so much better, and it's been progressing much better as well. And that's something to note as well. And again, that's exactly why I use the logbook. I listen to how I'm feeling. If I'm going into sessions very sore, that's a clear indicator that something is either a little bit under recovered, or it's in that kind of maximal recoverable volume kind of mark there. And there probably isn't room to kind of add in more volume now, especially when it comes to my needs. Like, my hamstrings are literally one of the best body parts, and I'm hitting like 4 sets a week on my hamstrings and chest, which again reflects my needs. My chest and my hamstrings are a good chunk ahead of pretty much all the other body parts of my physique, so that's why I'm kind of sitting at kind of maintenance volume for them in a sense there. And again, I'm actually kind of enjoying that there. So this session, run through, we've got 2 sets of tricep extension with a rest pause, 2 sets of a cable girl with a rest pause as well, then 2 sets of adductors, 2 sets of RDL. So I recently just changed back to the RDL. I was doing stiff legs, but again, just for myself, like, it's just the almost inconsistency of tapping the weights off the floor kind of just like skews the set a little bit. So I'd rather just change to RDL. And again, I feel a lot more comfortable in the movement as well. So taking 190 kilos on that today. And again, when I ended prep, I was in 160 kilos. So we're 30 kg, added 30 kg in 30 weeks, which, on average is about a kg added per week, which is a solid rate of progression. And again, small, steady wins over time results in these big wins over time. Then head into 2 sets of the leg extension and 2 sets of my single leg press. Now, on paper, it's not a really large session,
But honestly, the RDL specifically just absolutely ruined me, so that's kind of why there. And I'm usually cooked by the end of this session. So get into it here with the tricep extension. So on the Strive tricep extension, big fan of this. Loading that in the kind of lengthen to mid in the set one, and then fully lengthened in the second set. And again, for Prime kit or Strive kit, whatever kit we're able to adjust the resistance profile. What I like to do is I use the exact same load for all two or all three of the sets. And that's somebody just adjust the resistance profile to load it more in a length and range. And if you do that, you should be able to get the same load and the same reps in all of your sets there. So again, the main thing I'm thinking about is pretty much keeping constant tension on like digging my tricep into the pad and just gonna cue to contract the tricep as well. Again, trying to the only thing I want to be moving here is my elbow. Okay, that's the only thing I want to be moving here. If other things are moving, that's when other things are taking over rather than tricep taking over. Again, within your sets, this is something you need to be conscious of is what is actually moving the load. Now, there's a time and place to have a little bit of, momentum. For example, on my pro days, I did barbell row where I'm honestly not thinking about much. I'm just thinking about rowing the weight and just holding a lot of weight, which is going to get a lot of stimulus to the directors. Again, there's a time and a place where you're thinking of when to be a little bit more intense. For example, isolation work, especially arm work for myself. In the past, that's what I've really struggled with. And again, my arms have come up so much in these past 30 weeks. And that's because the quality that I'm training them at and going in every single week, treating them with the same intent as my big exercises, progressing every single week and making sure I'm not, not getting sloppy or not bringing intensity to these sets as well. If you stay in the UK, you may have noticed the weather is a little bit hotter. And that's something I want to talk about is, especially if you're sweating a lot more, do not be afraid to, hydrate a little bit more with that as well. And realistically, that would make sense, especially the days that have been a lot hotter. And like the leg day I had this sorry was absolutely fucking brutal. Absolutely sweating my tits off, and I felt absolutely fucked during this session. But before the session, during the session, and after the session, I was literally just having a little bit more hydration via more water, more fluid, of course, but also more salt as well. And realize that hydration is not just the amount of water you have on a daily basis; it's also the salt intake that you have as well. So making sure, especially when you sweat a lot more, your sodium and potassium amounts should increase with that as well. So that's a little tip for yourself, especially as summer's approaching. Even if you're not living in the UK, living in a hotter country, I would recommend having a little bit more hydration. And realistically, if it's not, the usual amount you're having, like it's not the end of the road, a little bit more. And I would highly recommend that. Now, moving on to the cable cuddle. So, I'm a big fan of this prime setup on the cable stack here. Again, the main thing I'm thinking about are just keeping my elbows, upper arm almost locked in place and just trying to really isolate the biceps as much as possible, getting a good contraction on the biceps as well, and then making sure I'm controlling the change of direction and keeping that intent there with, of course, progressing what I did from last week, which of course very important with your training. And if that is not happening, you're not progressing in some way, shape, or form. Again, progressing is not just beating the logbook from last week. The logbook itself does not dictate if a set is good or not, okay? Which might almost kind of contradict what I said. However, if you think about it in percentages, right, if you get a +1 in last week, if you think of the percentage of the increase that is, that's a big progression. And that's how I like to view it and kind of say it to clients is imagine it in percentages. Like, even if you didn't get a +1, but the last rep moved a lot better, the quality of the set and the execution was a lot better, the control was a lot better, like that is a progression in itself. And again, making sure you're not being chained to the logbook. How I like to view the logbook is I quite literally look at the numbers from last week, I go in with intent to beat the logbook, but as long as I know that I've took the set all the way there and the quality is there, then it's a win no matter the numbers there. But of course, like at the same time, it's balancing it because when you're beating the logbook, like it's not just going to be handed to you, like you're going to fucking work your ass for it. But again, as I just said, as long as you're taking the set all the way there and you truly know you're taking the set all the way there, and again, making sure you're filming your training, even if you don't have a coach, get a motherfucking tripod, film your training. It's so important to actually view your training from almost third person perspective and look at it, logically to see if you're actually taking it all the way there. Is the speed of the reps gradually getting slower and slower and slower? Or do you hit a brick wall all of a sudden? If that's the case, then there's a lot of improvements and a lot of progress you're leaving on the table. Right. RDL time, that part of the session where we really take it up a notch. Something I actually like to do in this session as well is like, it's a small thing, but I won't really listen to music until like this point in the session. It's kind of almost like a turning point in the session to really get up through it again. Said it multiple times, but these part of the sessions, the big fucking hitters, like these are where you get ahead, and that's constantly what I'm thinking about before I go into these sets. So warm-up's feel good. On to the second warm-up now. So I'll do 2 plates, 3 plates, then I'll do like 175 for one rep, and I'll go into my 190 kg top set there. So ordales, the main cue that I'm thinking about is literally just getting my ass back. Think about like closing a car door with your glutes. Okay, so like ass back through back of the room. What I like to cue as well is as I'm coming down, that's literally the main cue I'm thinking about, keeping my lats tight and butt back, butt back. I think about get my glutes back and up. I don't want to go. I don't want my hips to shoot back and then down as I'm lowering the weight. Of course, there's going to be some slight kind of movement of that, especially as you're kind of doing like lower rep work, etc. We're trying to minimize that as much as possible to put as much emphasis on the hamstring and glutes, which of course is the priority here. And for myself, like whenever I do any kind of hip hinge movement, like I do get a lot of erector out of it. So getting the best of all three of those rounds in a sense there. So going to take some time to myself, warm up correctly. Again, treating the warm ups with the respect they deserve, especially these next two warm ups now. Like if I go in, I'm not totally prepared, I'm not totally focused, and they move heavy like that, just almost like shoots my confidence going into the top set, which can really make or break the set there as well. So make sure to treat them with the respect they deserve, especially the closer you get to your working weight there as well. 100 kilos, let's fucking have it. Roll it to 200 kilos is on. Big goals every single week. There's an opportunity to progress, and this is another opportunity for me to take a step forward. And guess what? It's up to me all up here. Let's go. Taking it outside because it's very, very loud there now. Gym's a lot better. Something like having a party with the music on. I absolutely love a gym that just picks exceptional music. We're getting for an RDL set. But yeah, really, really happy with the RDL set. Plus one top set, plus one back off. Job motherfucking done until next week. And that's all it is. Just one set at a time. I'm really, really happy with the execution of the set again. Finding that balance of getting a good amount of range of motion, but not taking a piss with it. Where I'm, realize I want to stop the eccentric, yes. I want to stop the eccentric pretty much as soon as my hips cannot get back any further. The minute I start just like, my hips are all the way back and I just start kind of rounding my back, again, that's when you're not actually getting any more range of motion, and it's, again, going away from the top active range of motion of the hamstring glutes, which is primarily what I'm trying to work there. So again, kind of what I went over at the start here with filming your sets, being logical, actually looking at the set, kind of what can you improve, what was done good, etc. And I'm very, very happy with that set overall. So until next week there, and again, chasing down 200 kilos, which will be there within the next couple months for sure, and a good set on there as well. Not just touching a load just because, yes, when you're consistently exposing your body to new loads, like it will be almost forced to adapt. But when I'm touching new loads, I still want it to be a very, very high quality of a set. And again, I hold myself to that standard as well. So yeah, very happy with that. Just waiting on a light extension here. Well, and I'll yap about it while I'm waiting on it. So this is the Flex light extension that's got replaced for the Cybex light extension here, which I really was enjoying. I can't do the plate loaded prime light extension just because my knees just fucking hate it. I can only do this one leg at a time as well, because that's the only way I can do it without my knees exploding, which is all good. So got single leg extension and then single leg press, glute bias leg press coming up. So 2 single leg exercises. That's kind of why there's less exercises in this session, just because it's pretty much like 4 sets on each there. That's kind of something you take into consideration as well when you are doing unilateral work as well. But yeah, I actually really do enjoy this, doing this leg extension single leg. Allows me to line it up again, not aggravating the knees, which again, longevity is so important. Like if you're doing a set and you have like a niggle or an injury, and you're doing a set and you can literally feel your injury / niggle, like you're just making it worse. Like pretty much all you realistically can do, depending on the severity of it, of course, is just let it rest and it will just recover over time. But you just need to let it be and not aggravate it any further. That's actually the worst thing you could do when you have an injury, when you have something kind of creeping up, is just continue on with the way you're performing the sets if that is aggravating it. And if you're doing a certain set and it is aggravating something, like something needs to be addressed, like you're probably executing it wrong, or you simply just do not fit in the machine. Again, how you're genetically built, structure plays a role in how a set feels, if it actually fits you as a person. If, for example, the pectoral leg extension just does not suit me, no matter how I set it up, and that is the the reality of the situation there. So leg extension, locking in one leg at a time, and of course taking it all the way there. With the leg extension as well, like that is going to be almost like the most demanding, like mentally demanding probably set that you do. Obviously there's not like there's not like a fucking tier list for it, but I personally do think it is one of the hardest things. And again, I see it with client clients again. As soon as we improve their leg extension, improving their composure, it's always a transferable skill that you take into all your other lifts, and all your other lifts will improve with that as well. So make sure, again, the biggest thing with leg extension is people just not taking it all the way there. They stop because the set gets too sore and they mentally clock out. Again, they'll lack that composure to take the set all the way there, which is a massive, massive skill you need to improve on within your training. Again, importance of from your training there, making sure that you can actually see it if you're staying composed. Again, something I like to do is pick a calm music to keep me, mentally calm going into the set as well. I'm not getting it. I'm not, how I approach the RDL set is nowhere near the exact same how I'm approaching a leg extension set. I think that's something key to talk about there as well. Is like the leg extension set, I want to be calm. I want to calm my body down. But the RDL set, I want to get fucking aggressive and get fucking after it. Again, there's a difference there. Both serve their purpose for different sets, and you need to learn to know kind of when to use each one there. Right, final exercise to wrap up an incredible session. Apologies because the music's quite loud, so I might be sounding a little bit AI/muffled. But yeah, incredible session. Progress across the board. I think generally every single set progressed. Job done. Rest tomorrow. On to a new week of training. Simple as that. So with this leg press as well, you can see how is it glute biased? Because my feet position, you see it's a lot higher up. I'm getting a lot less knee flexion, which is again more biasing the glutes compared to the quads. Okay, now no matter how you leg press, the glutes and quads are going to be working. But if you want to isolate the quads or isolate the glutes, then there's different ways you can do it to isolate it more and make sure that's working more pretty much. So on my other leg press, on my quad session, it's obviously a quad bias leg press. So I put my feet a lot lower, and my primary goal is to get as much knee bend, knee flexion as possible, which is of course that work the quads a little bit more. But with this, feet up a lot higher, and it's kind of less range of motion, but it's actually again the active range of motion for the glutes there. Feels really good. Again, I'm being really controlled during the eccentric, controlling change direction. Make sure I'm actually keeping the tension on the glutes. Like even during the eccentric, I'm still cueing to almost like kind of like contract my glutes in a sense, just to kind of keep that internal feel. Because for myself, when I leg press, it's so easy for me to just use my quads, and even when I'm doing that, like I still feel my quads to a certain extent. I still come off my quads have got a bit of a pump, etc. But you can see I'm trying to bias the glutes a lot more as well. Again, in my physique, that's what I need a lot more of, and I've got a lot of product on that there as well. And it's quite hard to tell if your glutes are growing when you've got a lot of body fat on them. So realistically, next to my diet, that's kind of when I'll be able to see, if I've actually put on a significant amount of glute tissue. So yeah, that is all though. I'm gonna wrap up the video, the leg session there. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you took some entertainment, some value from it as always. If you're interested in online coaching as well, there'll be a link in the description, or you can shoot me over a message on Instagram and I can fire away and I can answer any question you may have regarding that as well. Use code Brandon10 at Reject Weakness, of course, if you want to get some sick clothes. And of course, we went over the meaning behind the brand at the start as well. Follow the brand, Reject Weakness on Instagram as well. And that is all. So yeah, I shall see you in the next one. Goodbye.